Run along, sweetie. Things are about to get messy.
In fact, the big guy was right. This is just a small scene in the Superpower University. There's a crazy professor here who can change magnetic fields. And also a dangerous girl who can manipulate blood. But there are also students with no bottom line, perverts who drink with their anuses, and gender-neutral people who adhere to political correctness. Yet in the dark corners of the school, there are many antisocial students who support Homelander. They will have such stories with the main character group, and the story picks up right after the previous season. Mary accidentally killed her parents when her powers awakened, and later was admitted to Godolkin University because of her extraordinary talent. This university aimed to gather all superpowered individuals, select the best among them, and let them join the Seven, a team dedicated to fighting violence and upholding justice. Founded in 1967 by the scientist Godolkin, the university came into being when he had just developed Compound V. He originally planned to conduct various tests before putting it into use, but unexpectedly, the scientists in the same laboratory, greedy for superpowers, injected themselves with Compound V. In the end, all of them died suddenly, and Godolkin was also killed because of this. Mary made many friends at the university, by chance. They learned that the former principal had been torturing superhumans, and had even developed a virus specifically designed to target them. In the end, the main character group fell apart due to different ideals, and fought in the university. The scene was very chaotic, and the riot didn't end until Homelander arrived to stop it. Before long, Cipher took over the position of principal, and claimed that he would make the university great again, in the Elmira Rehabilitation Center. It was a secret prison set up by Vought International. At this point, Jordan was sitting alone in his cell. In A. Days, he was originally a student at the university too. His main ability was gender transformation. When transformed into a male form, his defense ability was enhanced. When transformed into a female form, his attack ability was enhanced. Additionally, he could release shockwaves. Suddenly, several prison guards burst in, threw Jordan into a prison van without a word, and Jordan was shocked to find Emma there too. Emma's superpower was size shifting. At this point, she was very panicked. Jordan quickly comforted her, and the two encouraged each other until dawn finally came. It was at this point that the transport vehicle suddenly stopped. Kate opened the door, and both Jordan and Emma were stunned. It turned out that Kate had betrayed the main character group before, and her superpower was mind control. Kate told them that everything was over, but neither Jordan nor Emma looked happy. Kate used her telepathy, and realized that Andre, who was imprisoned with Jordan and the others earlier, had actually died. This was definitely not the outcome Kate wanted. Just as she was speaking incoherently, a woman walked over quickly. She was the newly appointed student administrator. B told Jordan and Emma not to be like this. If it weren't for Kate repeatedly pleading with the school, they would never have been released so easily. B also mentioned that there would be a press conference soon, and asked Jordan and Emma to cooperate. Soon after, the two put on formal clothes and began their performance, according to the script prepared by the school in advance. After this series of actions, Jordan and Emma were portrayed as heroes, who rescued their fellow superhumans, and their experience of being imprisoned was explained as a misunderstanding. After the press conference, Jordan immediately found Kate to ask about Mary's whereabouts. Only then did Kate reveal that Mary had successfully escaped from prison a few months ago, and had been missing ever since. Jordan and Emma left anxiously after hearing this. A few days later, Cipher held an opening ceremony. He loudly spoke ill of humans, kept inciting conflict between superhumans and humans, and even claimed that the two couldn't coexist. But Jordan had heard all these words countless times, and didn't care at all. It was at this point that Jordan suddenly remembered he seemed to have seen Cipher when he was imprisoned. Apparently, the other person was also one of the core members of Vought International. After the ceremony, Cipher was making his own lunch in the office, when Kate pushed the door open, and questioned him about the truth behind Andre's death. But Cipher didn't respond directly at all. He even warned Kate not to attempt to use her superpowers on him. Kate didn't listen, though. Just as she was about to successfully touch Cipher, he grabbed her hand. Cipher warned Kate to remember her position, told her to find Mary and bring her back as soon as possible, and then ordered Kate to get out. At this point, Mary was shopping in a convenience store. She only realized she didn't have enough money when she went to check out. Just as Mary felt embarrassed, a black guy helped her out. Back in the cheap hotel, Mary kept calling welfare organizations to ask about her sister's whereabouts. Since she accidentally killed their parents, The two sisters had completely lost contact and hadn't seen each other until now. After hearing countless negative answers, Mary turned on the TV in disappointment, only to happen upon the news of Jordan and Emma going back to the university. When she heard the two distorting the truth in their speeches, Mary shook her head slightly. The next morning, Mary had just stepped out when she saw a group of Starlight supporters being bullied by Homelanders fans, and the leader of Starlight's supporters was exactly the black guy who had helped her pay at the convenience store the night before. Mary hurried to stop them, but Homelanders fans had a bad temper and started attacking right away. Mary's lip was split, and she flew into a rage instantly. She used her powers to knock all of Homelanders fans to the ground. The black guy recognized Mary's identity, but Mary quickly signaled him to keep quiet, then left the scene in a hurry. After going back to the hotel, Mary immediately locked the door and began to wash the remaining bloodstains off her hands. It was at this point that a man suddenly burst in. His name was Dognot, and he was also a superhuman. Dognot had a keen sense of smell and much greater physical strength than ordinary people. He walked toward the bathroom but found no trace of Mary. Just as he was confused, Mary suddenly started attacking, but Dognot remained unharmed. Then the two fought using their respective superpowers, but in the end, Mary was still no match for him. Just as Dognot was about to forcibly inject a drug into Mary, a flash of white light suddenly appeared. Mary looked up and was shocked to see that the person was Starlight. Starlight explained that she had seen the news of Mary using her powers to subdue Homelanders fans, and immediately guessed Mary would be targeted by Vought's assassins, so she rushed over right away. Later, Starlight persuaded Mary to go back to Godolkin University, saying it was the only place where she would be safe, but Mary refused. She was already thoroughly disappointed with the school, and right now, she only wanted to find her sister. Starlight fell silent for a moment, then revealed her real purpose. Many years ago, Godolkin proposed the Odessa project, but the project was shelved after his death. Recently, this project had been restarted. Starlight wanted Mary to go back to the school to find out what the project really was. She said she wouldn't force Mary, and could give her some time to think, then turned around and left. Emma knocked on Andre's door, but there was no answer. It was at this point that she noticed the door was unlocked and walked into the villa, but the next second, a chair was thrown against the wall. The person who threw it was Andre's father, Polarity. Emma quickly introduced herself, but Polarity didn't care at all. At this point, he was completely consumed by grief and spent his days drinking. Emma carefully comforted him while asking about Cipher's whereabouts, but as soon as she finished speaking, Polarity suddenly flew into a rage and told her to get out. But in the end, out of consideration for Andre, he warned Emma to stay away from Godolkin University. At the same time, a party was being held at Godolkin University. Students were competing to see who could drink beer faster and more. One person drank beer very quickly, though he did it using his asshole. Jordan was already in a bad mood, and when he saw this absurd scene, he could no longer hold back his anger. Emma was also in a low mood. Just then, Riley's girlfriend approached her. Emma and Riley had been in a relationship before, but later broke up due to differing ideals. Riley's superpower was immense strength. Riley's girlfriend, Mia, was a show host. She didn't know about her boyfriend's past with Emma, so she invited Emma to an interview, but was rejected by Emma. But Mia still refused to give up. In the end, Emma suddenly lost control of her emotions and pushed her to the ground. Riley didn't pay attention to Mia. Instead, he said to Emma that they should let the past stay in the past. Wouldn't it be good for them to be friends again? Emma said Andre was dead. The ease on Riley's face disappeared instantly, and he hurried to ask what had happened. Emma told him to go ask Kate, then turned around and left. Riley barely managed to steady himself, then immediately found Kate. When he saw Kate nod in confirmation, Riley lost control instantly, and the aura around him also became unstable. Kate hurried to activate her mind control ability, and only then did Riley gradually calm down. Emma saw the news about Mary. She immediately took her phone and found Jordan, inviting him to go find Mary with her. Although Jordan hesitated a little, he finally set off with Emma, and their conversation was all heard by Kate, who was hiding nearby. Before long, Emma and Jordan found Mary, but as soon as they met, Jordan couldn't hold back his anger. He criticized Mary for abandoning them and escaping from prison alone. During the argument, Jordan also mentioned Andre's sacrifice. Only then did Mary learn that after she successfully escaped, Andre also gained hope of escaping. He found a metal pipe that led to the outside, but he didn't choose to flee alone. Instead, he wanted to find a chance to take everyone away with him, but he never expected that the pipe had already been blocked with bricks. In the nick of time, Andre tried to use his ability to open the metal door, but his superpower had side effects. In the end, he died on the spot due to overusing his ability. Just as Mary was grieving, Kate suddenly stepped out of the shadows. She said it wasn't Mary's fault. Andre had just done what he thought was right. Then Kate invited Mary to go back to school. At this point, Kate used her telepathy and saw that Mary had met Starlight. She became even more excited, urgently telling Mary to go with her, then stepped forward quickly after speaking. To protect Mary, Jordan, who was beside them, immediately released a shockwave. When Mary saw Kate was seriously injured, she wanted to use her ability to help stop the bleeding, but Jordan stopped her immediately, reminding her that physical contact would let Kate control her with mind control. Mary hesitated for a moment, but finally left the scene with Jordan and Emma. Later, the three took a break at a laundromat. Although Emma didn't like Kate was right. Mary would only be safest staying at the university. To get back to the university, Mary had to be packaged as a hero like them. Mary thought it over carefully, and secretly thought going back would be good. She could also complete the task Starlight had given her, so she cooperated with Emma to shoot a video and posted it online. Things unfolded just as Emma had expected. Mary successfully went back to the university with this video. Cipher immediately called Mary to his office, took the initiative to mention Andre's death, and then took out the autopsy report. Mary stared at the report, lost for words. She took the file and tried to leave, but Cipher mentioned that Kate had been attacked the night before. Luckily, she was lucky enough to survive. Obviously, Cipher knew that Mary and the others were the ones who attacked Kate. The news of Kate's attack soon made headlines, and the one in charge of the broadcast was Firecracker, a member of the Seven. Upon learning about Kate's attack, Riley hurried to the hospital, but as soon as he walked into the ward, Kate suddenly grabbed the nurse's hand.
Emma, help me.
Emma.
You need to go.
Riley was stunned for a moment, and soon the emergency response team arrived at the ward. In the principal's office, Polarity was actually talking to Cipher. It turned out he had decided to join the school as a teacher, to investigate the cause of his son Andre's death. Cipher pretended to welcome Polarity's employment, then made up an excuse and left. When Mary went back to the dormitory, she took the initiative to give Andre's autopsy report to Jordan. After learning that Andre had chosen to sacrifice himself, Jordan's attitude toward Mary softened a little. But why did Cipher take the initiative to give the autopsy report to Mary? Just as the two were puzzling over this, B pushed the door in and told them they had been selected by Cipher to attend a hero optimization seminar. When they arrived at the meeting place, Jordan and Mary found several other students there. Cipher explained that this course was designed to help students conduct an in-depth analysis of their superpowers, and the way to analyze them was through combat. As soon as he finished speaking, a burly man walked in. His name was Weskier, and he was also a superhuman. A male student mocked Weskier twice, and Weskier immediately smashed his spine with a hammer. Only then did the students realize Cipher was serious, but they had no will to fight. They all rushed to the door, trying to break it open and escape. Only Jordan charged forward to confront Weskier head-on, but he was knocked flying after just a few moves. Then Weskier turned his attention to Mary. Mary first dodged Weskier's attacks with her agility, then activated her power to try to control Weskier's blood. Unexpectedly, Weskier kept hitting his own chest, and forcibly broke free from the blood control. He grabbed Mary by the neck. Just then, Jordan pressed the class dismissal bell in the corner, and Weskier finally let go. The locked iron door opened, and Cipher walked in. He ignored the students' loud complaints, said the course would continue next week, then turned around and left. In the university cafeteria, a student held a leaflet of Starlight, and questioned the shop assistant why they supported Starlight. Emma couldn't stand it and shouted at the troublemaker to leave. Just then, Polarity, who had just joined the school, took the initiative to greet Emma. The two moved to another place to chat. Polarity proposed to find out the truth about Andre's death together with Emma. Upon hearing this, Emma perked up and hugged Polarity excitedly. When he learned that Andre's death might be related to Cipher, Polarity flew into a rage and said he would raze the university to the ground. Emma was a little speechless. She hadn't expected Polarity to be so hot-tempered, so she quickly spoke to calm him down. When she saw that Polarity's mood had gradually calmed down, Emma seriously brought up the Odessa project. Polarity fell silent for a moment, then remembered that the university's archives might contain information about the Odessa project. He and Emma immediately took action. After a series of deliberately flattering words, the administrator made an exception, and allowed the two to enter Godolkin's archives, but it was too difficult to find the Odessa project among the mountain of files. Just then, Emma suddenly noticed a strange sound behind the bookshelf. Polarity immediately used his ability, and sure enough, he opened a hidden door. Inside the room were items all related to fascism. The two searched through the documents carefully, and Emma actually found the Odessa project. Unexpectedly, she was so excited that her body grew uncontrollably. The administrator rushed into the archives, but only felt relieved. After learning this was Emma's special ability and left, Deep, a member of the Seven, saw Riley. Noticing Riley was in a bad mood, he took the initiative to talk to him. Riley questioned Deep about who the real culprit behind Kate's attack was, but Deep quickly evaded the question and left in a hurry. Just then, a guy took the initiative to complain about Emma's actions. 2 days ago, Emma had used his phone to call a taxi to Weehawken, costing him $90. And Weehawken was exactly where Kate was attacked. All clues pointed to Emma. Riley found Emma, who had escaped from the archives, and told her all about her suspicious actions. He questioned why she would repay kindness with enmity and hurt Kate, but Emma immediately retorted that Kate was the one who had sent her to prison, and she kept brainwashing Riley. Seeing Riley standing there in a daze, Emma left quickly. At the same time, Mary and Jordan arrived at the teaching building, only to see students gathering to set off fireworks. It turned out the culprit behind Kate's attack had been found, and it was the black guy who had helped Mary before. Mary knew well this was someone deliberately framing Starlight's supporters. Just then, Emma ran over in a hurry, and immediately handed over the file bag of the Odessa project. Mary took a quick glance, and was so shocked that she froze in place. Everyone gathered at Polarity's house to discuss. They found that apart from Mary's file being completely preserved, the records of others all said deceased, without specifying the cause of death. In other words, Mary was the only survivor of the Odessa project. Mary thought for a long time, then suddenly remembered the woman standing next to her mother in a photo. The woman's name was Pam, and she had been her mother's best friend when she was alive. Polarity said he would investigate Pam, then told the kids to hurry back to school. On the way, Mary and Jordan talked about Pam. Their relationship was actually a bit awkward. After Mary accidentally killed her parents back then, Pam had started to distance herself from her, and even tried to adopt Mary's younger sister. Though she finally failed, these actions had hurt Mary, but now she had gradually let go of it. After Jordan left, she immediately sent a message to Pam. Meanwhile, Kate finally woke up and was stunned by what she saw. Suddenly, Cipher pushed the door in. No one knew how long he talked to Kate, but the next day, Kate went back to campus, but her condition was very poor. If B hadn't appeared in time, Kate would have fainted on the way. It was at this point that Kate met Mary, Jordan, and Emma. The atmosphere dropped to freezing point in an instant. Then they went to the hero optimization seminar together, and the training content this time was one-on-one combat. Mary was no match for her opponent at first, but after she started using her powers, she quickly subdued them. After class, Cipher kept Mary back alone and hinted that she could fight in a better way.
You could be something magnificent if you just believed it up here.
After leaving the teaching building, Mary found Jordan and complained to him about how strange Cipher was. Jordan joked that maybe Mary was really the chosen one. Just then, they saw staff members replacing posters. All the posters printed were photos of Jordan. As the two were confused, B walked over quickly and explained, Jordan was now the top student in the school. He not only had the chance to join the Seven, but also could give a speech in front of all teachers and students. B pulled Jordan toward the event venue, when suddenly Mary's phone rang. It turned out to be a reply from Pam. At the same time, a fan approached Jordan, hoping Jordan would switch to female form to take a photo with them. Jordan told the fan to get lost, and just then, B handed Jordan the pre-written speech script. She also reminded him to say that he was transgender during the speech, and if anyone asked him to switch forms for a photo again, he must obey. The school could make Jordan the top student, and they could also bring him down from his pedestal on the grass nearby. Riley's schizophrenia was getting worse. His girlfriend saw how he looked and firmly broke up with him, but Riley didn't have the energy to deal with her. In his eyes, all the humans around had turned into the appearance of dolls. No matter what Riley did, the situation didn't improve at all. Meanwhile, Kate found Cipher. She hoped he would reveal the truth to VOD International, and make Mary and the others receive the punishment they deserved. But Cipher directly refused her request. It turned out Kate had lost her superpowers after the attack. Cipher told her to cut the crap. Losing her superpowers meant Kate had no more use value, and could be abandoned by VOD International at any time. Kate was filled with grief and anger, but she could only hold back her emotions and leave the office. After going back to the dormitory, Kate looked at the wound on her head and her severed arm, and couldn't help but show a lonely expression. Just then, there was a knock on the door from Riley. He quickly explained his purpose. He wanted Kate to use her superpowers to help get rid of the voices in his head, but Kate had already lost her superpowers by then, so she had to talk about irrelevant things to avoid the topic. Riley had no choice but to leave. He went back to his dormitory and started smashing things frantically to vent his inner irritability and grievance. Jordan hurried forward to stop him, but was pushed away by Riley, who had lost control of his emotions. The two immediately started fighting, and after falling downstairs, they gradually regained their senses. Jordan hoped Riley could calm down and give him a chance to help. Riley froze for a moment, then finally agreed to Jordan's request. During lunchtime, Emma went to the cafeteria to buy a cake, but saw a paranormal incident. Flyers supporting Starlight would suddenly appear on the cake shop's wall. The shop assistant broke down instantly. She said she wasn't a Starlight fan, and every time she tore off the flyers, new ones would always appear on the wall. What scared the shop assistant most was that Homelanders fans would come to the shop to cause trouble every day. Emma stood up for justice and promised to help the shop assistant find out the truth. Just then, a blurry figure suddenly appeared. Emma hurried to chase it, but ended up running into the men's bathroom and had to give up. The next day, Emma walked into the classroom and saw that the classmates sitting in front had yellow paint on their fingers, the exact same color as the patterns on the flyers. Emma immediately exposed the classmate's identity. When the female classmate saw that she had been found out, she walked out of the classroom quickly. Emma followed right after and cornered her in the storage room. The female classmate finally confessed everything. She was indeed a loyal supporter of Starlight, and her superpower was Harper. Through physical contact, she could gain the other person's superpowers for a short time. She demonstrated using Emma's ability, and only then did Emma fully believe her. Later, Harper revealed that the organization she was in would have a big plan the next day. Then Harper took Emma back to her dormitory. Her roommate Allie was also a member of the organization, but what surprised Emma was that the big plan Harper talked about was just trivial things like spraying paint and distributing flyers. Emma immediately encouraged Harper and Allie to do something bigger to attract attention. Under Emma's persuasion, the two agreed with her. Mary arrived at Pam's door. She hesitated for a long time before ringing the doorbell. After getting into the house, Mary asked Pam if she knew where her younger sister was. Pam said she had never seen the sister since she separated from Mary. Upon hearing this, Mary handed over the old photo, and Pam immediately recognized that the photo was taken at Godolkin University many years ago. Mary's parents had been unable to have a child, and in vitro fertilization was too expensive. It was at that time that Vought International came to their door. They paid all the costs for the in vitro fertilization, on the condition that Mary be injected with compound V. As for Mary's younger sister, Pam called it a miracle of life. Mary's mother had conceived naturally after giving birth to Mary. Pam took out many old photos. Mary's eyes welled up with tears instantly, but the next second she froze. Cipher was actually holding her in one of the photos. Pam quickly explained that the doctor's name was Gould, and he had been the one who delivered Mary back then. It was getting late, so Mary prepared to leave. She first went to the bathroom, but caught a glimpse of a children's room at the end of the corridor. When she walked in, she saw that all the decorations in the room were her sister's childhood belongings. Just then, Pam also noticed what Mary was doing and ordered her to leave. Mary questioned Pam about what was going on, and when Pam still didn't respond, she began to shout loudly, but Pam just watched Mary silently from the side. When Mary regained her senses, she choked up and said that if Pam ever saw her sister, she must help explain the truth of what happened back then. With that, she hurried out of Pam's house. At this point, the school's celebration officially began. Before going on stage, Jordan expressed his affection to Mary. Mary was very happy and responded immediately. Soon it was Jordan's turn to speak. At first, he was still reading from the script, but suddenly he stopped, as if he had made a major decision. He transformed into his female form and told the students loudly that Andre had died to save others, and that the person who attacked Kate wasn't a Starlight fan, it was himself. As soon as he said this, the scene erupted in an uproar. But that afternoon, Vought International distorted the facts, claiming that Jordan was also a Starlight fan, and that he had taken the blame for Starlight's fans to whitewash their image. Vought International also linked Jordan to social outcasts, and finally made Kate admit that she had indeed been attacked by Starlight's fans. After this series of manipulations, Jordan's revelation became meaningless. He had wanted to bear the consequences alone, but Mary said she would stand with him. Just then, Kate was thrown out of Cipher's office, and Cipher's lackey immediately announced that Mary and Jordan would fight against each other, but Mary refused on the spot. Cipher beside her flew into a rage instantly. He threatened Mary that if she didn't comply, he would send all of them back to prison. Mary had no choice but to give in. Cipher said seriously that he would help Mary win the competition, and told her to come for special training the next afternoon. After going back to the dormitory, Jordan and Mary immediately told Emma about the duel. After a discussion, the three decided to find Kate and ask her to control Cipher to cancel the duel. Jordan and Mary took action immediately, but Kate initially said she would report them. Mary pointed out that Kate and Cipher weren't on the same side. Only then did Kate let the two get into the room. She admitted that Cipher was a bit mysterious. He had never shown his superpowers, and Kate's telepathy didn't work on him either. Although they couldn't take direct action against Cipher, they could find his dirty secrets to force him to cancel the duel. Kate had seen an iron door in Cipher's house, and there might be some secrets inside. The three planned to sneak into his house, while Cipher was training Mary. While waiting, Kate and Jordan frantically exposed each other's secrets. After venting, the resentment between them faded a lot. Just then, Cipher finally left, and the two took action immediately. Jordan told Kate to use her superpowers to deal with the security guard, but the next second, the guard started moving. It turned out Kate's superpowers hadn't disappeared. She just couldn't control them as flexibly as before. After getting the key, the two got into the secret room smoothly, and surprisingly found a man covered in burns lying there. Jordan took out his phone to take a photo, but suddenly the old man opened his eyes. The two were so scared that they quickly fled Cipher's house. Mary arrived at the training ground and found only Cipher there. Only then did she learn that the content of today's special training was control. Cipher told Mary to move the blood bags to another empty table, with the key requirement of not breaking the plastic film. It went smoothly at first, but soon the blood bag broke. Cipher told Mary to put down her arms and try again, this time to feel the connection with the blood with her heart. Mary simply closed her eyes. Before long, the remaining blood bags flew to the other table, all intact. Cipher then told his men to bring in a lamb. This time, Mary had to practice control using a living creature. Mary thought it was too cruel and wanted to refuse. Cipher dropped the pretense.
Well, you won't, because you want to know what Odessa means, and this is how you find out.
He knew Mary had already learned about her background, and admitted that Mary was a product of the Odessa project. Even this school was founded to create Mary. Then Cipher said, Mary might very well become the strongest superhuman.
Yeah, right. More powerful than Homelander.
Cipher said that as long as she trained, anything was possible. Mary thought there was no harm in training. The next second, the lamb was moved into the air. Suddenly, Mary sensed something and glanced at Cipher. Her control over the lamb weakened immediately, and the lamb instantly shattered into a pool of flesh and blood. Cipher told the staff to bring in another lamb. After the training, Emma, Jordan, and Kate gathered to wait for Mary. When she came back, Jordan handed her his phone. Looking at the person in the photo, everyone was confused. Mary decided not to dwell on it and told them that Cipher wasn't a superhuman at all. There was no compound V in his body. Mary wanted Kate to control Cipher, but Kate admitted that her superpowers had been out of control lately, so she couldn't control him. Just then, Cipher sent a message to Kate. He already knew that Kate and Jordan had broken into his house and asked to meet her. Everyone thought something terrible was going to happen, but Mary saw it as an opportunity. She told Kate to take the chance to get evidence that Cipher was an ordinary person, using it to threaten him into canceling the duel. But Kate said she was searched every time she met Cipher, so she couldn't bring any equipment. Emma told Kate not to worry, and that she would handle the equipment. Kate just needed to get Cipher to talk. Later, Emma found Allie and got a miniature camera from her. Harper mimicked the ability to walk through walls, and successfully unlocked the door. Her brother, Greg, also came to keep watch. After Allie and Harper turned on the water valve, Emma immediately shrank. She headed for Cipher's room with the listening device, but an accident soon happened. While patrolling and maintaining equipment, a staff member found that the boiler room's water valve was open, and immediately reset it. Emma ran forward immediately, but was still swept away by the water. Seeing the danger, Allie quickly used her ability to turn the water valve, and only then did Emma get a chance to successfully get into the toilet in Cipher's room. Kate passed the security check and got into Cipher's room smoothly, but Cipher wasn't angry. He told Kate that the old man she had seen that day was his father, and Kate quickly apologized. She lied and said her abilities had recovered, then took the opportunity to ask what Cipher's superpower was.
Could you just pause for 2 seconds? Nature calls.
Meanwhile, Emma was still struggling in the toilet. When she saw Cipher sit down, she quickly climbed out of the toilet, and then, using her wits, finally met Kate. Unluckily, Cipher happened to come out of the bathroom at this point. Emma could only put the bug on the table and find a chance to escape the room. It was time for the duel. Mary and Jordan got into the arena separately, and Kate didn't have much time left. Emma successfully met up with the others. To everyone's surprise, she had unknowingly returned to her normal size. There was no time to overthink. They immediately focused on Kate's situation. She told Cipher that after regaining her powers, she could sense things she couldn't before, like the secret that he was an ordinary person. Cipher paused for a moment and asked what Kate wanted. Kate said she would keep the secret. As long as Cipher called off the competition, she thought he would compromise soon, but the next second, Cipher exposed her plan and picked up the hidden camera. Kate forced herself to stay calm, saying that even so, Cipher couldn't change the fact that he was ordinary. Cipher didn't care at all. He turned to the arena and controlled Jordan to knock Mary flying.
Don't raise
Your hand, that doesn't do it.
anything.
ignoring Kate's attempts to stop him. Cipher continued to control Jordan to beat Mary. Finally, Mary couldn't hold on any longer, and had to use her power to control the blood in Jordan's body. Cipher was very happy and immediately lifted the control. Jordan quickly begged Mary to let go. Mary did her best to release the blood control. The whole audience cheered, but Mary couldn't feel happy at all. She glared angrily at the room where Cipher was, her eyes filled with murderous intent. After going back to the lounge, Mary saw Jordan throwing a fit. Jordan said he had been conscious while being controlled, which made him both angry and powerless. Mary wanted to comfort him, but after being controlled by Mary, Jordan also began to find her superpower terrifying. Just as the two were arguing fiercely, Cipher suddenly appeared in the room. He agreed with Jordan's words, and also praised Mary's performance highly. Cipher told Mary to continue the special training the next day, but Mary refused firmly. Cipher threatened that if Mary and Jordan dared to resist again, he would send them to prison to join Kate. Seeing the frightened expressions on their faces, Cipher left satisfied. Meanwhile, Kate had been escorted to the prison. At the prison guard's request, she took off her clothes and put on a prison uniform. At this point, Kate finally understood the despair Emma and the others had felt. She tried to escape using her superpowers, but due to the instability of her abilities, she was eventually controlled and locked in a cell. Riley went back to the suburban residential area. This was his home. He looked at his childhood photos and rummaged through the refrigerator for food. Just then, his parents came home. At first, they thought there was a thief, but were filled with surprise when they realized it was Riley. Riley apologized for showing up uninvited, and his father quickly stepped forward to hug him. Meanwhile, Emma and Jordan were drowning their sorrows in alcohol, but Mary proposed going to the prison to rescue Kate. Emma thought Mary was crazy, not to mention whether Cipher's words were true. Even if Kate was in prison, could they rescue her with just the few of them? Mary emphasized that all three of them had been in prison, and knew how terrible it was inside. Kate was locked up because of them, so they should rescue her. After thinking it over, Emma and Jordan agreed to rescue Kate together. Then they started working on the rescue plan. Mary shared her escape experience, but it was useless now, because since Mary escaped from prison, the prison had added more guards and reinforced all the doors. Now, there was only one way to escape successfully: finding a powerful ally. At the same time, Riley was watching TV with his parents. Riley's mother had an unnatural expression. She kept looking out the window as if waiting for something. Suddenly, Riley's phone rang. Emma told him about the plan to rescue Kate, but Riley refused. He thought Kate was a bad person and deserved to be in prison, with no other choice. Emma, Mary, and Jordan had to go ahead with the plan. As they were preparing their things, Greg came over to greet Emma. When he learned they were going to the prison to rescue Kate, he volunteered to join, but Emma told him to stay calm. If there was no news from her within 2 days, Greg should go to Polarity to report. Then they said a heartfelt goodbye. It was obvious they had feelings for each other. On the other side, Cipher invited Polarity to dinner alone. After a brief exchange of pleasantries, they immediately started testing each other. In the end, Polarity couldn't hold back, and directly asked about the cause of his son's death. Cipher admitted that Andre's attempt to break the iron door was actually a plan he had set up, aiming to unlock Andre's potential.
It's a shame, really, isn't it?
Cipher wasn't flustered at all, and even told Polarity to take action quickly. Cipher's confident and fearless attitude intimidated Polarity. After going back home, Polarity called Emma and Mary, but neither answered. Just then, he saw a photo of his son. Polarity had a splitting headache and lost control of his powers. Knives in the kitchen flew around randomly, and each one could have hurt him. At the same time, Mary and the other two successfully climbed over the prison's barbed wire fence and planned to sneak into the prison through the rooftop pipes. The pipes had long been sealed. Emma shouted that something was wrong. Just then, several flashbang grenades flew over. When Mary and the other two woke up again, they were already inside the prison. Emma said, "We're back here again," and Kate's cell was right next to them. When Kate learned that Emma and the others had come to rescue her, she was very moved and took the initiative to thank Emma. But it didn't matter now. In the prison's monitoring room, Sage, one of the 7, was chatting with Cipher. Cipher decided to use the high-pressure environment in the prison to unlock Mary and the others' potential, but Sage, who was beside him, said he had brought a gift that might help. Kate pulled a steel needle out of the wound on her head. She heard Emma vomiting again, so she immediately spoke to comfort her, telling her not to give up. Then she inserted the steel needle into the lock hole and tried to unlock the cell. At the same time, Mary tried to use her powers to get out of trouble, but found that her blood couldn't condense at all. Just then, Cipher came out. He told Mary to stop struggling. If she kept messing around, he would kill Jordan. In fact, Cipher had always been confused. He tried to make Mary and the others stronger. So why did they resist? Jordan, who was beside them, couldn't stand it anymore and told Cipher to reveal the truth about the Odessa project. Cipher walked to Jordan's cell door and said that possessing him made him feel very comfortable, but Jordan said Cipher was lying. He could clearly feel that Cipher was in pain. Cipher paused for a moment, then immediately told his men to take Mary away. First, he took Mary to see the iron door that Andre hadn't opened, then took her to meet her long-lost sister, Anna. Cipher gave Mary one night to think it over, either cooperate with him, or die with Anna, then he threw her back into the cell. At the same time, a prison guard passed by the cell, and found Kate lying on the ground, so he immediately opened the cell door to check. He carefully pressed the button of the electric shock collar. Seeing the collar had no response, the guard hurried forward, only to be attacked by Kate unexpectedly. After knocking the guard unconscious, Kate successfully used the key to rescue Emma in the next cell, then went on to free Mary and Jordan. Jordan decided to evacuate immediately, but Mary told them to go first. She had to take Anna with her.
You're not doing this alone. Nobody left behind this time.
They opened the corresponding cell, only to find Anna had stopped breathing. Mary froze in place, ignoring everyone's attempts to stop her. She closed her eyes. The next second, everyone present started nosebleeding, and the wound on Anna's neck actually began to heal slowly. Finally, she woke up. Anna didn't hesitate at all. She grabbed her sister and rushed out. Just then, prison guards with sonic guns had surrounded them. Luckily, Jordan reacted quickly, and immediately used a shockwave to break through the encirclement. During the escape, Anna suddenly sensed something and told everyone to follow her, but in the end, they walked into a dead end. The next second, Riley broke through the wall. He hadn't expected it to be so easy to find them. This wasn't the time to chat. Then the six of them found a car, and left the prison together. Jordan told Riley to throw away his phone, to avoid being tracked by VOD International. After everyone came to their senses, their eyes all fell on Anna. Everyone was curious about why she had been resurrected. Mary explained that she had just done what Cipher said, and hadn't expected it to actually work. At the same time, Cipher was massaging the man covered in burns, but suddenly received the news that Mary and the others had escaped.
Find Moreau, bring her to me. The rest don't matter.
At this point, Mary and her group fled to an abandoned library. After going through so much, they had developed an amazing rapport. Kate found some clean clothes for everyone to change into. Riley went out to look for food, and the others encouraged each other. Later, Riley found Emma with a pile of snacks, clearly wanting to ease the tension between them. But before they could talk for long, they found a phone in the next room. Emma immediately tried to contact Polarity, only to realize she had forgotten his phone number. Just then, Emma noticed the nearby computer was still connected to the internet. She quickly logged into her social media account, sent her location to Harper, and asked Harper to help contact Polarity. At the same time, Mary found Anna and gently asked when her sister had been injected with Compound V. Anna said she didn't know either. She only knew her ability was to predict the near future, but this ability was uncontrollable and had certain side effects. Anna thanked her sister for saving her, but now she wanted to find Pam. Mary quickly stopped her, which triggered Anna's stress response.
Bad that has ever happened in my life has been because of you.
Polarity finally woke up, only to find Cipher sitting beside him. Cipher said he had long known that Polarity had been in contact with Mary, but he wasn't here to blame. He would let bygones be bygones, as long as Polarity got Mary to go back to the school. But Polarity didn't believe him at all, and told Cipher to get out. Just then, Harper called Polarity. She directly told him where Mary and the others were, and hoped he would go rescue them. But what Harper didn't know was that the Polarity she was talking to was actually under Cipher's control. At the same time, Anna, who had just returned to the room, started gasping for breath. Mary rushed into the room to help her sister regulate her breathing. After Anna recovered, Mary comforted her, saying they could work together to live a normal life. Anna was about to speak when she suddenly sensed something. The next second, Weskier broke through the door. He directly controlled his hammer and knocked Mary flying. Riley told Jordan to take care of Mary, then fought Weskier himself. At first, the two were evenly matched, but soon Weskier gained the upper hand with his hammer, instead of pressing his advantage. Though he went out to find Mary, Weskier knocked Jordan down with one hammer blow, and just as he was about to take Mary away, a girl suddenly appeared.
Run along, sweetie. Things are about to get messy.
But the next second, the girl Zoe tore Weskier's head apart with her mouthparts, and Uncle walked over slowly from the side, and took the initiative to shake hands with Mary. It turned out he was the former CEO of VOD International, and also Zoe's grandfather, Stan. He proposed cooperating with Mary. Mary said that if he wanted to cooperate with her, he must take everyone along, and Stan agreed without hesitation. Later, he took everyone to his underground fortress, which was built to prevent Homelander from destroying human civilization. The more Mary looked at Stan, the more suspicious she felt about him. Stan explained that he wanted to cooperate with Mary because she was related to the Odessa project. This project was founded by Godolkin, with the goal of creating the strongest superhuman, but the project finally failed, and only 2 people survived. One was Homelander, and the other was Mary. Mary was shocked when she heard this and quickly said she didn't want to become like Homelander. Stan said calmly that Homelander had an antisocial personality, and Mary was different from him, otherwise, he wouldn't have chosen to cooperate with her. Then Stan mentioned Cipher's conspiracy. Cipher also knew Mary's true identity, and it was because Mary's powers had awakened that he restarted the Odessa project. Stan also mentioned that Godolkin had died in a fire many years ago, but the staff had never found his body. Jordan and the others suddenly remembered that there was an old man covered in burns in Cipher's house, and that old man might very well be Godolkin. Stan immediately became alert. If Godolkin was still alive, he would probably have to change his plan. He took out Godolkin's research manuscripts from many years ago, which recorded a large number of methods to target superhumans. Stan told Mary that if that person was really Godolkin, he might have a way to stop Homelander, but for now, they couldn't act rashly. Stan told Mary to face her superpowers head-on. Only in this way could Mary change the world. After going back to her room, Mary kept replaying Stan's words in her mind, and finally made a decision. She walked out of the fortress, determined to end everything alone. Unexpectedly, Kate followed her, and Mary thought Kate was going to stop her.
I think you can fix my powers. Maybe I can use them to help you. Keep Cipher out of your head.
Mary didn't answer. She just turned around and walked into the distance. Kate hesitated for a long time, then finally followed her silently. Inside the fortress, Anna dreamed that her sister was lying on the ground covered in blood. She woke up from the nightmare, immediately knocked on Jordan's door, and when she learned her sister wasn't there, she turned to look elsewhere. Soon everyone was woken up by the noise. Anna explained to them that her ability was to predict the future, and her sister might be in danger. Zoe noticed the elevator had been used, and Kate was also nowhere to be found. Jordan immediately realized that Mary and Kate must have gone to find Cipher. The group decided to go back to the school first, then head to Cipher's house together. Riley used his superpowers to take Emma ahead, while Jordan drove Anna. At the same time, Mary and Kate had already reached the vicinity of Cipher's house. Kate begged Mary again to help her restore her powers, but Mary still refused. She was afraid Kate would betray her again. The two sneaked into the villa carefully. There were no guards around. Since Kate had been there last time, they quickly found Cipher's room. But the man covered in burns wasn't there, just as Mary and Kate were confused. Polarity, who was nearby, startled them. Seeing Polarity was very weak, Mary hurried to help him sit down, but Polarity said he couldn't stop, because he had discovered that his superpower seemed to be able to interrupt Cipher's control. Suddenly, Polarity came to his senses and questioned Mary, why she had come to Cipher's house. It was like walking right into a trap. Only then did Mary share her guess. When he heard that the burned man might be Godolkin, Polarity was shocked. If that was the case, Godolkin might be more dangerous than Homelander. Just then, Polarity suddenly started trembling all over, and the magnetic field around him began to fluctuate. Mary immediately held Polarity's hand and treated him the same way she had treated her sister in prison, and surprisingly, it worked. Polarity looked at his hands in surprise. His long-standing hand tremor was actually gone. Then the three went to the principal's office to find Cipher, but there was no sign of him either. Polarity suggested that Kate use her superpowers to find Cipher, on the condition that she could use them normally. Mary understood Polarity's implication, but she still believed that the risk of restoring Kate's powers was far greater than the reward. She couldn't take that risk. Upon hearing this, Kate showed a lonely expression. Just then, the phone on the desk suddenly rang. It was Cipher. He repeated his usual words. If Mary was willing to continue training, he would let the others go. Mary asked Cipher if he was the one who killed Anna. Cipher admitted it openly and told Mary not to hold back. If he hadn't killed Anna, Mary's powers wouldn't have awakened. He told her he planned to kill students with weak superpowers, and if Mary agreed to cooperate, they could create a new order.
Think about my offer. It's the only road out for all of you.
After hanging up the phone, Mary told Polarity that Cipher was in the seminar classroom. She had just heard the sound of the door closing. At the same time, Riley and the shrunken Emma had already arrived at the school. They happened to run into Greg. Emma told him about Mary's disappearance, and Greg immediately offered to help. Before flying into the sky to look for Mary, when Riley saw Emma and Greg hug, he felt an indescribable sadness in his heart. Just then, Jordan and Anna also arrived at the campus, but as soon as they got out of the car, Anna had another premonition. Based on her description, Jordan deduced that the scene Anna had foreseen was the seminar classroom, so the two rushed there immediately. Meanwhile, Greg hurried to find Riley and Emma. He had spotted Mary near the seminar building. The three hurried toward the building, and soon the main group reunited. Mary complained that everyone shouldn't have taken the risk, while Anna told her about the result of her premonition. Mary fell silent immediately after hearing this, but the next second, she used her powers to control Jordan and the others. She then told Kate that she could restore her powers, on the condition that Kate controlled everyone to leave the school. Kate immediately refused. She would never use her powers to control her friends again. Polarity also told Mary to let everyone go. Only then did Mary release her control, and walked into the building with Polarity without looking back. They had a quick discussion and decided to split up. Polarity soon found the secret room. He started attacking without hesitation, but unexpectedly, Cipher withstood the impact. Just then, the group walked in. They understood Mary's intentions, and because of that, they were even more determined not to let her take risks alone. Emma didn't see Mary, so she learned from Kate. Mary had sensed the heartbeat of the burned man, and said he was hiding in the basement. The group immediately split into two teams. Those without direct combat abilities, Emma, Kate, Anna, went to the basement to find Mary, while those who could fight, Jordan, Riley, Greg, stayed to help Polarity. But the next second, Cipher started controlling Riley to beat Polarity violently, and kept taking control of others. This made it hard for Polarity to deal with. Seeing the situation getting worse, he let out a loud roar. Sound waves spread as the magnetic field expanded, knocking everyone present unconscious instantly. Meanwhile, Mary had found the burned man in the basement. After confirming he was Godolkin, she asked if he would help fight Cipher. When he nodded, Mary activated her powers. Godolkin's severely burned skin slowly healed, and finally went back to normal completely. In the seminar classroom, everyone woke up one after another. Polarity raised a large knife to kill Cipher, but unexpectedly, the other person burst into tears and begged for mercy. Losing all his previous composure, Cipher explained that his name was Doug, just an ordinary man who had lost his job, and someone had been controlling him all along. Only then did Polarity understand everything. Emma and the other two had already rushed to the basement. Seeing Mary unconscious, they hurried over. Meanwhile, Godolkin beside them looked intoxicated, immersed in the joy of rebirth. Emma told him to save the celebration for later, and help in the seminar first, but Godolkin ignored her completely and muttered to himself that superhumans should make good use of their powers.
And without them, we are nothing.
Kate panicked instantly when she heard this. She told the group to run quickly because Godolkin was Cipher. Although Godolkin heard Kate's words, he didn't stop the girls from escaping. Later, Godolkin walked outside, stood in the sun, and greedily sniffed the scent of grass. He had really missed this feeling for a long time. Just then, he caught a glimpse of Hemp nearby. After learning that Hemp's ability was to turn his feet into hands, Godolkin controlled a chain to strangle him to death right away.
We want gods to walk this earth, not circus freaks.
To understand why Godolkin had such thoughts, we need to go back to 1967. After the laboratory caught fire that year, he injected himself with Compound V, but before the drug took effect, the intense flames burned him all over his body. Now, Cipher explained to everyone that he was Godolkin's second puppet. He had tried to resist, but it never worked. Although he had consciousness, he couldn't take control of his own body, like sitting in the back seat of his own car. Earlier, Godolkin had wanted to control Mary, and use her superpowers to heal himself, but Mary's powers were unstable at that time, so he had to give up and instead started training her to master her abilities. Meanwhile, Godolkin was greedily eating food. Later, he fought with Sage, and the two talked excitedly about their beautiful future life. But first, they needed to find a way to introduce Godolkin to Homelander. They couldn't let Homelander think Godolkin was a dangerous person. Fearing that Mary's location would be exposed, Polarity planned to drive Cipher to a friend's house for treatment. The two chatted and laughed, even talking about Andre. But the next second, someone suddenly jumped onto the roof of the car. Then Cipher was stabbed to death. In the end, Polarity had to stop the car, only to see that the attacker was Black Noir, a member of the Seven. At the same time, Mary, Kate, and Emma had gone back to the school. Emma suggested Mary leave the US immediately, but when Mary refused to listen, Emma talked about the bond between them. Then they poured their hearts out to each other and hugged. After Emma left, Mary directly used her powers to restore Kate's super abilities. At the same time, Godolkin started a live broadcast. He revealed his identity and reset all students' rankings to 0. He seriously told the students that from that day on, he would open advanced seminars, regardless of how strong or weak their abilities were. Anyone who attended the seminars would have a chance to rank among the top 10. When Jordan learned about this, he immediately found the group to discuss countermeasures. They decided to split up. Mary immediately started a live broadcast to warn the students, while Riley and Emma hurried to the fraternity for help, but their efforts had little effect, and in the end, many students still attended the seminar. Godolkin repeated his twisted theories, but halfway through, he told the students that they didn't deserve superpowers, let alone to be students of this university. Just then, Homelander called Sage, but Sage thought he could still control the situation and didn't answer. But the next second, Godolkin told the students to prove their abilities. He would try to press the button in the corner, and the students had to stop him by any means necessary. A female student attacked immediately, but Godolkin, with just one look, controlled another student to knock her down. Listening to the screams around him, a sense of satisfaction welled up in his heart. But just then, Godolkin felt a sharp pain. Whenever he overused his superpowers, the burned scars from his past would reappear on his body. Afterward, Godolkin proudly showed off to Sage. He had never been able to control more than 2 people at once before, but now he'd done it. Sage, looking frightened, asked what he really wanted. Godolkin didn't hold back. He was training to master his control over superpowers. If he became strong enough, he could control powerful superhumans like Mary and Kate, and even Homelander. Mary told Godolkin not to forget their original plan, but Godolkin made it clear that plans change. Homelander, despite his great power, had a weak character and would never accomplish anything significant. Right after that, Godolkin controlled the battered students to dance. It was only then that Sage realized Godolkin's ambition had grown so huge that it was hard to control. Black Noir locked Polarity up and chatted excitedly about old movies. Just as Polarity was shocked that Black Noir could speak, Sage walked in. She said Mary had made a mistake by healing Polarity, because when Polarity was physically weak, his inner strength was even greater. Then Sage began to taunt Polarity with Andre's death. After saying that, she turned and left, deliberately leaving the door unlocked. At the same time, Godolkin had gone on a killing spree. He opened the door and let the next group of students in. Kate used her powers to control the doorman and get Mary into the room. Mary warned Godolkin that if he didn't let the students go, she would kill him. Godolkin refused to give in. Of course, with a wave of his hands, the students swarmed toward Mary like maniacs, but none of them could stand against her even for a moment. The student with the butt ability immediately used his power to release Emma and the others who had been hiding inside him. Greg and Riley took control of the scene first. Emma used her power to grow larger and kicked Godolkin flying. Right after that, Harper touched Godolkin and instantly gained his abilities. Harper first restrained Godolkin, then let the students go. Once all the students were safely away, the main group approached Godolkin. Mary tried to use her powers to kill him, but unexpectedly, Harper's ability mimicry only lasted for 1 minute. Godolkin successfully took control of Mary, and used her powers to manipulate the blood around them. In an instant, the whole main group fell to the ground. Godolkin called them traitors, saying they didn't deserve to stay in the school. Just as the main group was about to be killed, a magnetic shockwave suddenly hit. It was Polarity, who had been freed by Sage. Godolkin tried to use his powers again, but this time Mary didn't hesitate at all. The farce ended with Godolkin's death. Polarity told the main group to leave the school quickly. People from VOD International were on their way, and they needed a scapegoat for the campus massacre, so the main group would all be framed as fanatical Starlight supporters. But Mary no longer wanted to run. Seeing Polarity's firm attitude, the main group had to leave. They drove on until nightfall. When they finally dared to stop and rest, Mary planned to send her sister to Pam's house. But after everything they'd been through, Anna had come to understand her sister, and decided to stay by Mary's side. As the two sisters hugged affectionately, the lights above them suddenly started flickering. The next second, starlight descended from the sky, just as everyone was confused. A-Train, one of the 7, told them that he and Starlight now belonged to an organization against Homelander, and he was inviting Mary and the others to join. Everyone was thrilled. But that's where the season ended. Compared to the first season, Gen V Season 2 has more satisfying moments. As a spin-off of The Boys, it has always maintained an anti-superhero core, but the second season shifts its criticism from deifying heroes to the root of power. As the creator of Compound V, and the founder of Godolkin University, Godolkin should have been a leader for superhumans, but he became a tyrant who treated lives as experiments. The excellent superhumans produced by the selection system are nothing but violent killing tools. Mary and Homelander are both survivors of the project, but they took completely different paths. Mary upholds her humanity through guilt and redemption, while Homelander becomes a dictator fed by power. It's believed that Mary will have an impressive performance in future episodes. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe to our channel. See you next time.